It's inside here, but down the inside, Jorge Prado goes in, but going wide around the outside. Renault, or is that, Renault and Fernand. Look at that, France first and second, and US there in third with Chase Sexton. And Jago Geertz goes down, and Tomac in the back of him as well. An explosive start then here. The first 3-4 corners, we've got the two French riders leading the way. Maxime Renault, Dylan Ferrandis. In fact, Ferrandis now leading the way. Maxime Renault second, Chase Sexton third. Eli Tomac buried in about 10th or 12th position, maybe even further back. In fact, Tomac is he's actually recovered well. He's in sixth, but Evans goes down for Australia.
I'm not sure what happened to Tomac. He must have got pushed out in that first corner because he came into the corner in second, but you could see Maxime Renault eyeing him up and wanting to push him wide.
But it's a France 1-2 at the moment as we come into this final race. Here are the standings. USA were on 16 points, Australia on 24, France are on 32, but it's changing all the time. Look, USA only have a 5-point, 4-point buffer over the French at the moment.
Yeah, anything goes in this race. We know it's going to be, we see Tomac back to 12th now. He got caught up in that crash with Jago Geertz, but that crash by Australia changes things quite a bit too. So it was Australia coming into this race in second. Now France catapults with their top two guys here.
But Ferrandis was the fastest rider on the track in race 2, probably the fastest lap of the race of the weekend on race day. And look how dry the racetrack is now. It doesn't matter what happens from here, Jason. It can rain all it likes. But down in 34th place, Mitch Evans from Australia. So they're going to be relying on, and Guadagnini down there as well. But where is Hunter? Jet Lawrence is in 6th position. Yeah, Koldenoff down there as well, right at the back. So some big hitters caught out on that opening lap.
Yeah, really tough situation. That's what I was alluding to before when you talk about chaos. Race 3 always seems to bring some of that, and I don't think we're anywhere near done yet.
Working our way towards the end of this first unofficial lap. Remember, finish line to get a lap time and therefore an official position. But look at the body language here from the two French riders, absolutely relishing these conditions as Chase Sexton doing his best to keep them in tow. There's Prado in 4th for Spain. 5 going through there is Jeremy Seawer, and then Lawrence. So Jet Lawrence going through in 6th place. He was the winner of race 2, the Open and MX2 race, don't forget. So what's he got up his sleeve as things start to unfold? At the moment, USA and France, 19 points and 21 points. It's a 2-horse race between those two, but do not count out Australia.
Yeah, a couple things here. I would be very surprised to not see Dylan Ferrandis take off. Let him settle in a couple laps, and I think you'll see him explode with some really powerful lap times. And I want to see if Chase Sexton makes a move on Renault, if Renault gets aggressive, right? He understands the situation. They need to make up points on Team USA. And this race, if you're going to get aggressive anywhere in your career, this is the race for it.
How good is this a confidence for someone like Maxime Renault, who in the first race, pretty much started 3rd or 4th and finished 3rd or 4th. In fact, where was he? 3rd. There wasn't a lot of passing opportunity, but sitting there behind his wingman, Dylan Ferrandis, this is absolute perfect and good confidence for the two French riders.
It is, and Renault, he wants to latch onto the back of Ferrandis. It'll be interesting to see if he can hold that pace, because the pace that Ferrandis was putting in the end of race 2 was simply unbelievable. And I think right now he's feeling the track out. He doesn't have any pressure from his teammate. I think once he figures his lines out, he's going to be out of here.
Just looking down the scoreboard here, Tomac in 11th place. He, and I'm sure if we can get a replay of the start down to the 2nd corner. So through the first turn and 2nd corner, when we saw Jago Geertz go down, Tomac go down. Here is Tomac on screen for our American viewers who may have missed the start of the race. But over the hill, the number 6, Gauthier Paulin, team leader when France were 5 times champions in a row. Gauthier Paulin looking on there with intent, stone face, poker face. A mistake there through the waves there for Fernandez. Ruben Fernandez as Calvin Ballana, number 6 for the Netherlands, tries to get around it. And Tomac just behind them.
Yeah, Tomac's no stranger to working through the pack. You know, this year was really a kind of a renaissance for his starts, but over the course of his career, he's always had to move through the pack. So he's going to be patient here. The biggest thing is he wants to stay out of trouble. He doesn't want to get into any run-in with any of these guys as he works his way through the pack. And I think if the point situation changes, if France moves into the lead, I think they'll signal that to Tomac and he'll have to up the intensity.
Ruben Fernandez under attack from Calvin Ballana, and they're bringing Eli Tomac with them. A little bit of bar banging a moment ago between the Spaniard and the Dutch rider, who's a little bit too far out there to the outside. Going to be a tight first turn for him that will allow Tomac to close back up on the number 6.
Well, and these guys are trying to do math on the fly, right? As much as Tomac's concentrating on what he's doing, he's also thinking, where's Sexton? What points do I need? Are we still in a powerful position as far as points goes? At some point here, he's going to settle in and need to move forward.
Just looking down the leaderboard, no real movements for Evans and Koldenhoff. They're still 35th, 36th for Australia and the Netherlands. As it stands right now, after the first official full lap, the fastest lap of the race, Dylan Ferrandis, but he's only about 1.8 clear. That's them in the opposite direction. Sexton all over the back of Maxim Renault as they head up over towards the FC Moto jump down the bottom of the valley. Meanwhile, Tomac down the inside and Verlanderen takes a place away from the Dutchman, moves into 9th place.
See Sexton here. The biggest thing is you want to be patient. You don't want to open the door for Renault to get aggressive on you, right? If you make a move, make it up the inside or something where Renault can't counter.
Maxim Renault then under pressure. We saw from the body language and the very muted interview on the start line at the start of the race from Chase Sexton. You said it, Jason, he looked nervous, sounded nervous, and if you weren't, there is something wrong with you. But now that the gate has dropped, the adrenaline's pumping through the veins, Sexton is exactly where he needs to be. But it's Ferrandis, Renault, Sexton, France, and America. A long way to go in this third and final race, the deciding race, and Sexton getting up over Larocco's lead. We both had our hands over our eyes there, Jason Thomas and I, as Sexton attempted it, but he knew that might be the game changer in terms of getting onto the rear wheel of Maxim Renault. Yeah, and Sexton did look nervous, and I believe he truly was, but after you get through the start, you get through the first lap clean, and then it's just another race, and yeah, so of course his heart rate's probably a little bit higher, but that first lap is so critical, just like we saw Koldenhoff and Mitch Evans and all these guys make a mistake. That's where it's most likely to happen. So on our second lap then, Dylan Ferrandis, another fastest lap as he makes a gap of about 3 seconds as Tomac up the inside of Fernandez and moves into 7th place. So the second of the Americans then, the winner from race 1 on a charge, trying to get on terms with these guys here at the front. America are leading the way by about 4 points as it stands. That'll be 5 with that pass a moment ago, possibly.
And at some point, you know, with the 2 leaders out front, right, they can't do any better than they are. Team USA, I think, is going to realize we don't have to do anything here, right? Everybody just stay where you are, bring this home to the finish, no sudden movements, and they can pull it off.
And who's that down to in the camp there down in pit lane? Is that Trey Canard? Is that Paul Perebinos? Is it somebody else? Is it just the mechanics?
Well, and they have a great crew. They have Mike Pelletier, they have Paul Perebinos, and everybody's going to be doing the math, and they will relay that message to the mechanics. And they're going to, I'm sure they have some sort of signal say, okay, all we need is the status quo. You don't have to force any passes. You don't have to try to be the hero here.
Even the fans out on the banks, there are a lot of big screens overlooking from the vantage point from the fans there. They will see the scores come up intermittently out on the racetrack. They will see what's going on the screen as well. There'll be a lot of noise around here, but look at this. Jet Lawrence, the fastest sector 1 and sector 2, he's currently in 6th, but he's all over the back of Jeremy Seawer. But it's Ferrandis who still has the fastest lap of the race that time around. But I wonder if we'll see a late charge from Jet Lawrence.
Yeah, and if Jet does plan on moving forward, he's got to move quickly because Ferrandis is going to start extending his lead here. We saw him put in his best lap of the race there, and I only think he's going to improve as the track is improving as well.
There we go. This time, the lead trio getting over Larocco's lead. Ferrandis, Renault, and Sexton. And maybe Renault has realised he needs to pull that move as well to stay ahead of the 103. 21 minutes plus 2 laps to go then, the third and final race, MXGP and Open Class Riders here, the 75th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. We are at Redbud, Buchanan, Michigan, and so far the racing has been absolutely sensational. USA hold a 4-point advantage over France at the moment in the overall classification. Remember, Team USA have not won this event since 2011 at Saint-Jean-d'Angely in France, and it's the Americans leading the French here in this third and final race.
Yeah, and I would love to be able to see Team USA's pit boards because you don't want them thinking too much. You know, you want to keep them as they're normal, to get the lap times, continue, flow, move forward.
Oh, Ferrandis is down. New race leader, Dylan Ferrandis throws it away, and that will hand a point. Well, his teammate will take over the lead, but it'll be second place, and look at the amount of time.
Jet Lawrence even goes by, so he's all the way back. Tomac should be your next rider by, if he hasn't gone by as well.
Ferrandis setting fastest lap after fastest lap. All of a sudden, his pace maybe just coming back and biting him in the backside.
So Tomac would be the next rider, so that puts Ferrandis back to 6th place, and that changes the entire math here.
And that may also put Australia in a good position for a potential silver medal. Watch this here, Dylan Ferrandis folded the front going up, and Maxime Renault and Chase Sexton would have seen that right in front of them, and they're able to go around the outside of the number 15.
Just a brutal boy, and that's the rider we thought really was the most dangerous. Dylan Ferrandis had such great pace in race 2, but he did have 2 crashes in race 2 as well, so it's something, he's almost overriding the track, like that pace is almost unsustainable.
Well, Dylan Ferrandis did set the fastest lap that time around, but then quickly eclipsed by Jet Lawrence in 6th place, 2:11, almost in the 2:10s, the young Australian on his 450 debut. Where is the number 16 of Jago Kids, who also fell? Oh, he's up into 24th position. Still haven't seen a replay of the start actually through the first couple of corners that took out Tomac and Jago Kids, the American and the Belgian. But Renault leads, Sexton 2nd, Prado of Spain is 3rd, Siwa 4th, Jet Lawrence 5th, Ferrandis remounts in 6th place, Tomac 7th, about 6 seconds behind the Frenchman. And then we've got Fernandez of Spain, Dylan Wright in 9th for Canada, Tony Cairoli 10th for Italy. Searle 12th behind Verlandren for Great Britain, then the Latvian Carlos Sabalis, Freddie Noren of Sweden, Jari Avisto of Finland, Jeremy Van Horbig moves up to 15, finds his way past Noren falling down the order.
Well, and now you wonder, what is the situation? What are the orders for Sexton? Do you just try to go win the race? Do you sit behind Renault and not do anything silly? You know, not give Renault an opportunity, because Renault, it's desperate times now. You know, they have to make a big move here to gain a bunch of points.
Going into this final race, the USA were on 16, Australia 24, France were 32. The danger team at that point was Australia on 24. Even when you took away your worst result heading into this race, the USA had 7 points over Australia, not France, remember. And they can't see, as a mistake there from Ferrandis again.
Same corner.
USA can't see Australia in the mix anywhere. So I think even the riders looking around saying, okay, as long as we're ahead of those guys, we're good. When Sexton comes through and sees Ferrandis down on the floor, okay, one's in front of me, one's on the deck. Yeah. So that will settle the nerves.
Yeah, and you just wonder, it's Sexton personally, he wants to win. He's a racer. Can he manage that situation? Say, I don't need to win here. It doesn't matter. Put my ego away and let's just bring this thing home for another 17 minutes plus 2 laps.
Hasn't dented his confidence, has it, Dylan Ferrandis, as he looks to get back on terms with his quicker lap time, previous lap times. Tony Cairoli has just found his way past Wright, hasn't he? I think he has. Yeah, so up into 9th place.
Dylan Wright with a strong ride here. He won every single moto, as we talked about in Canada. Just a dominant performance, and to be in the top 10 in this combined, you know, MXGP and MX Open Moto is really impressive.
This one for Dylan Wright, personal, just a personal ambition now, because race 1, the 2 Canadians, Ryder McNabb and Dylan Wright, 30th and 31st, so pretty much denting any good chances of them having a decent overall finish. I mean, they'll finish 15th as it stands right now, but that first race could have been so much better in terms of maybe finishing inside the top 10.
Yeah, and you see the legs on the pit board there for Renault, and you wonder, is that just stand up, flow a little bit more, and get off the seat and allow the bike to work underneath you?
A couple of laps ago, the message from the pit crew for Maxime Renault was hips. So hips and legs. It'll be head, shoulders, knees and toes soon.
and I think a lot of that is just to ride looser. The more you sit down, the more those bumps transfer up into your body and you take more of a toll. Stand up, allow the bike to work properly. It's a lot smoother ride.
Chase Sexton giving chase, quite literally, to Maxime Renault. Those two separated by about 1.5 seconds as they hit the line a moment ago at the end of lap 5. We're on lap 6. This is the gap between them. Still less than a couple of seconds, as you can see on screen. But where is Eli Tomac? He is still in 7th place, 8 seconds down on Ferrandis. But again, Ferrandis set the fastest lap of the race, a massive margin, 2:09.3, although Jet Lawrence also in the 2:09s, a personal best for him, 0.3 slower, and he's up in the 3rd, and he's got about a 4-second deficit. he's found his way past Prado and Siwa that time around. So Jet Lawrence, who's taken a few laps to get himself sorted, has really found pace here in this second race, and he is absolute. There is Sexton just ahead of him at the top of the hill.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and make a call that Jet Lawrence is going to win this race. You look at the pace, you look at the point situation, I don't think he's nervous at this point because he knows they needed a miracle to kind of pull this thing off after race 2. And everything's set up for him. I believe he's quicker than Renault, and Sexton, I don't believe, is going to want to have anything to do with a real battle with Jet Lawrence here.
2011 Saint-Jean-d'Angely was quite a pivotal year in terms of this Motocross of Nations competition. It was the last time that the USA were victorious, of course, and it was the only time Australia got on the podium, third overall that day. We could see USA win for the first time in since 2011, and Australia back on the podium. Will it be third or second? Because if he finds 2 more passes, they will equal France at the very least. .14.5 minutes plus 2 to go. No one can blink. No one wants to take their eyes off of it. Certainly not Chase Sexton, because he is all over the back of Maxime Renault once again. Second half of the lap, Renault seems to pull clear of the American.
Well, and it's interesting you mentioned, so the last time USA wins in 2011, I was really close friends with Chad Reed. He was on that podium team for Australia. And that race really propelled him to get back to form. It was a summer where he had the catapult incident at Millville. He really kind of got off the rails mentally there, and that propelled him to a nice 2012 season. So for Jet Lawrence here, does this give him the momentum? Because he will be on this motorcycle next summer racing against his own teammate there, Chase Sexton.
His teammate that he slipped up the inside of in that first race to make the pass for second place.
Well, and interesting there, right? He makes a really aggressive move, almost bumps Sexton. He gives him the "hey, I'm sorry" gesture over the jump. I think that was just a teammate friendly. I didn't mean to get as aggressive there as possible. But again, this is racing. Like, he certainly meant to make the move.
The fans in the crowd, not sure whether they cheer for Sexton or Jet Lawrence, because obviously both as popular as each other, but one is wearing the green and gold as he messes up coming through that turn. But Sexton all over the back of Maxime Renault once again.
Wow, and Jet Lawrence was 2 full seconds quicker than both of these 2 riders last lap around, and it feels like it's inevitable at this point. You know, the only thing that could go wrong is if Jet makes a mistake or he simply can't get around these 2. But what an impressive debut for Jet Lawrence. We all know he would be great on the 450, but I think this is even surpassing my expectations.
Well, Justin Cooper was the class winner in MX2. In the open class, it's either going to be Chase Sexton or Jet Lawrence, because Lawrence won the second race as an open class rider. Chase Sexton is an open class rider. He was second. They are second and third at the moment. If Lawrence finds his way past, the individual class honours will go to the Australian. If it stays as it is, it will go to Sexton, and I think he'd be pretty pleased with that. The rain starts to come down as well here in Redbud, Michigan, for the final 12 minutes plus 2 laps. We hoped it would stay away. Every time our cameras went a certain direction, you could see the black clouds looming large on the horizon. But Maxime Renault continues to lead by 1.3 seconds. That's him there, just going out of shot. The 103, Chase Sexton, all over the back of him from the United States, in second place, back end, working overtime as Jet Lawrence of Australia closing in. 2 seconds quicker that time around. Jet Lawrence, then Maxime Renault and Chase Sexton. He's into the 11s. They are on 2:13 lap times.
Yeah, and if you are Team USA, you almost just want to tell Chase, let Jet go. There's no reason to fight here. There's an 8-point cushion at the moment. Of course, things can change quickly. Somebody crashes and you might regret that. But the last thing you want to do is get into some sort of battle here, and let's see who's on the ground. The yellow flags should be a back marker as we're coming, as we're obviously watching the leaders.
Just looking at the lap times here, Jorge Prado last time around 2:19.5. He lost 7 seconds to Tomac. Tomac now 1.3 behind the Spaniard. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plans out. I'm guessing at the moment Tomac will have him in his sights and will try to make that move stick as soon as possible.
Well, it does make sense for Tomac to try to move forward, because right now they're using a 9 for Justin Cooper, and they'd rather not. You know, the further that Tomac can move forward, that they would be able to use that 7 than a 6.
And that's how the competition works. Throw away your worst score. So 3 races, and obviously each of the 3 riders get 2 races, so 6 scores potentially. And as it stands right now, let's say Team USA, because they are on top, as we look at Tomac closing in on Jorge Prado, who lost 6-7 seconds a lap ago. Tomac has got him right back in his sights. and is going for the Spaniard. This will be for 6th place if he can find his way around. He's got good drive around here, but look how deep that outside is. It's been like that all day long.
Yeah, it's never really worked. I'm surprised Tomac went there. I think it was just for the sheer fact of not following, but we really haven't seen anybody been able to make that work.
But so far, in terms of throwaway rides, USA have had a 1st, a 9th, a 4th, a 2nd. They're currently 2nd and 7th. They throw away that 9. That gives them the 16 points. France are throwing away 14 from the MX2 rider Marvin Muscan in the first race of the day. That's why they are on 24 points. But there's only 3 points between France and Australia in the final 2 positions on the podium. But the rain continues to fall here in the US.
Yeah, as we sit, it looks like the podium is set. We can move around a little bit on that podium, but there's a huge gap back to Italy in 4th.
Yeah. But it comes down to those 3 nations heading into this final race. USA, France, Australia. Team Spain, the best they've ever finished was back in 2002, 4th overall. So they're going to go just 1 behind that. The last, you have to go back a long time actually to see that, 2002. The last few years they've been, 10th, 12th, 8th, 7th, whatever. This is going to be the best result for them in a very, very long time, Spain.
Well, and you look at their team, they should continue to improve. They have young Guillaume Ferris, they have Jorge Prado, who is an MXGP elite, and obviously Ruben Fernandez making that move to HRC Honda for 2023 is leaving his mark as well.
G'day, Jet. All of a sudden, he's all over the back of Chase Sexton, just taking a moment there to clean the goggles, wants to go after the Honda man ahead of him. Maxime Renault, they all bobbled in that bottom corner. You notice that bottom right, they all went deep. But look at Lawrence. Can he cut back to the inside like he did on Guadagnini? No, he can't. And that was obviously his pass for the lead in race 1 on that part of the racetrack. But he's hard on the brakes. He's going to charge down the inside. Wow, decisive that from Hunter Lawrence. A back end all over the place from Sexton on the exit of the turn.
Yeah, I was wondering if we would get another hand gesture there like we did in the first one, but not this time. I mean, and we kind of saw that coming. 2 seconds a lap is going to show up. It's just where does he make the move?
Full commitment there from Jet Lawrence that time around. They love it down there in pit lane. See the other side of the garage.
And of course they still want to win the overall. It's still in play, but for now, right now, these immediate passes can move them into 2nd overall.
Yeah, well that will put Australia from 27 to 26. They will close 2 points on to within 2 points on France, but USA will go from 16 to 7.
And if Jet can pass Renault, that's a double point score, right? Jet will move forward, Renault moves back.
And if they do tie on points, France and Australia, you're looking at a 30 for Australia and a 14 for France. France will take 2nd overall. Yeah. So he's going to need Mitch Evans to find his way through the field.
Yeah, and it really, really hurt Evans to crash on the first time. He had a decent start and just a silly tip over, but that's what we see so often in this race. It comes down to one, simple mistake can cost your team, 2nd or 3rd, or even the win sometimes.
On debut, going potentially 1-1 on a bike you're not used to racing, Jet Lawrence, of course, that would be pretty spectacular.
Well, and
to win the class.
Yeah, that's a great word for Jet. I mean, he's been spectacular every step of the way. His style suits a 450 so well. He makes it look so effortless, and I'm sure he's trying hard. It's not really indicative of the effort he's putting in, but he sits up, straight back, doesn't look like he's really pressing too hard, and with all of that torque and power that the 450 has, he can really kind of utilize that, very similar to how Ken Roczen rides, where it almost looks effortless.
Maxime Renault all of a sudden under pressure when we saw this in race 2 when Jet Lawrence had closed in on Sexton, who took about 7 laps to find his way past Mattia Guadagnini. It took Jet Lawrence 1 lap to find his way past both riders, quickly past Sexton, and then all over the back through this turn here and made the pass on the Italian Guadagnini. And he's closing in fast on Maxime Renault. 6.5 plus 2 to go. You called it, I think.
Well, you just saw it coming, right? Like, again, 2 seconds a lap is a lot. When you look at the pace that, Renault and Sexton are already putting in, they're riding away from the rest of the field, and Jet Lawrence was significantly better than those two.
Okay, here's the thing that's going to determine 2nd and 3rd overall today. Because if, let's say, Lawrence does find his way past Maxime Renault, that ties them. If Sexton finds his way past the Frenchman as well, that gives the silver medal to Australia.
I don't think Sexton really cares at this point, but he does want to beat Maxime Renault, right? And everything is to play for in those cards. I don't think either of them know that. Renault would obviously care, Sexton probably wouldn't. but it's up to Renault now. Everything rests in Renault's hands.
Wow, taking advantage of the back marker there, Jet Lawrence, because Maxime Renault, he came upon him and Jet Lawrence was able to read it and turn tighter through that turn. He was all over the back of him as they hit the finish line there. 3/10 in it.
One other aspect of this, if Ferrandis can catch up to Jeremy Seewer, he's only 4 seconds back. That would have changed the game yet again. So there's a lot of moving parts still here to play with 5 minutes, 2 laps to go.
Jet looking good though, isn't he? Hasn't rushed at all. He's biding his time. He's just been absolutely phenomenal today.
It's very rare that you see Jet make an unforced error. You know, we saw it a few times at Supercross at the Triple Crown race in Arlington. You can see the youth come out a little bit, but it's so few and far between that you would ever be able to tell that he's only 19 years old.
So Cornelius Tondel, I think that was, of Norway, just getting lap there on the Fantic.
You know, it's interesting when you talk to Jet Lawrence, he is so much younger than he rides.
Jet Lawrence just buries the wheels in that bottom turn. He's up against back markers there, the number 36, I think that was Jari Havisto of Finland.
And just to expand on that, you know, when you talk to Jet, he's every bit of a 19-year-old. I would say even younger. His mindset, he just thinks like a youngster. But when he rides, there's so much more maturity to it. He rides like he's been in this series for 15 years, and I don't really know how to explain it. It's very unique. His racecraft, his thoughtfulness, his line selection, there's just so much there. And you wonder, when he's 23, 24, 25, he's going to be unbeatable.
Yeah, he's definitely a diamond in the rough, that one.
Well, it's funny, you know, you talk to Hunter Lawrence about it, and Hunter says that Jet hangs out with riders younger than him. He hangs out with the amateur riding crowd versus the older kids, just because that's the way his mind works. That's where he's at in his kind of social maturity, and then he puts his helmet on and everything changes.
Yeah. It's all about fun for him, isn't it? Just behaving like he's like Tom Hanks in Big.
Yeah, and Hunter, I think, is kind of taken aback by it, because he's like, you would think he's this adult the way he approaches racing, but he's really not. Like, he would rather go play with toys in the sandbox than he would, you know, do the things that Hunter would be doing more as an adult.
So Maxime Renault then, 11 laps complete. Likewise for Jet Lawrence and Chase Sexton, just 3.5 seconds separate the first 3 riders in this race, but it's Team USA who continue to lead the overall classification on 16 points. France on 24, Australia on 26.
I think we have to give Renault a ton of credit. You know, he hasn't failed to the pressure here. It is raining. I don't know if that changed anything. Maybe Jet's holding back to save his vision, but you know, it would be very easy for Renault to wilt here. You know, they pushed the pace. He's had pressure this entire race once Ferrandis went down, and you really haven't seen any of that. He hasn't made mistakes. He hasn't looked under pressure, and this is the biggest race of the year, and really looks the part.
Look at the takeoffs and landings, how they're shining up and they're polishing up, and the rain coming down. It's easy to make a mistake with the pace that these guys are pushing, and also having to think about these back markers as well that they're coming up against now.
Yeah, and if you're holding a pit board, if you're able to get a message to your rider, especially on Team USA, it's absolutely don't take any chances. If you are getting a little sketchy, just cruise. There's nothing really to gain here.
A 2-horse race between Maxime Renault and Jet Lawrence. The Australian getting better drive uphill into Talladega. Is he going to make the move? No, he's not. I was going to say the same move that he made on Chase Sexton earlier on in the race, but he is right within pouncing distance now. Look at the rain coming down now. It's almost horizontal.
Jet's been incredible through that section all day long. I don't know how he's able to carry such momentum versus, you know, we're not talking about amateur riders. Maxime Renault is your MX2 world champion from 2021, and he makes him look amateurish through that section. I think it speaks to the talent, and it's almost like Jet can see the lines forming and where it's going to slow you down. You see him take the inside there, but Renault should get Larocco's lead here.
Yeah, he does, and that inside was heavy, and I thought actually Maxime Renault was brave to try that, because he also looked like he got bogged down coming out of that turn.
Yeah, and in pouring down rain, he probably can't see really well, but I think it also speaks to Renault wants to win this race, not only for Team France to give them the best opportunity possible, but for himself. This was his rookie year in the MXGP class, and to come to the USA, I believe it's his first race ever in the USA, to win this combined moto would be a big statement for him.
Yeah, and he probably would win the MXGP category as well, because Maxime Renault, third and first, so he would win the MXGP. MotoGP. Jet Lawrence would win the Open category, and Justin Cooper, MX2. So they'll get individual trophies and watches. I think Rick Johnson has a special award, some watch manufacturer for that.
And of course, you know, Renault can't be expected to know the math either. He doesn't know what happened to Ferrandis once he went down. He doesn't know any of those things. So all he can do is put the best score on the board possible. But it's going to be tough because you know Jet Lawrence wants to win this race as well.
Dylan Ferrandis is closing in on Jeremy Seewer, a 2:15 versus a 2:16, a full second. The gap 1.1 seconds. So we are going to have a little bit of excitement here on the final lap here between France and Australia, because if Jet finds his way past Maxime from second to first, and also Ferrandis can find his way past Seewer, the Swiss rider, then that could, will determine the outcome of the silver medal, the second overall step on the podium. Chase Sexton has probably by now had the message, just do what you need to do, stay where you are, don't need to take any chances. I'm not sure if they've been told you're overall winners just yet, but the messages would be, you're just fine.
Yeah, and in all that excitement, you can call me biased. Of course I'm cheering for Team USA. Who wouldn't in my position? But all the excitement in the world, these two can have it. Chase Sexton just needs calm, cruising, you know, and he's still right there. He's still right on the rear wheel of Jet Lawrence, but I don't expect to see him try to get aggressive here. I think he's happy to sit on the rear wheel and just find the checkered flag.
But Team USA need to win here this weekend. It's been a long drought without winning, but it would just reignite the passion for the Motocross of Nations, for the American riders, the American fans, in terms of getting on the plane and going to Europe as defending champions with the 1, 2, 3 plates. Everybody wants to see that if you're a neutral.
Well, and there's a lot of pride with this event. Everybody wants their country to win. That's why we're here. This is the Olympics of motocross. So
but even if you're not American, and you're not, maybe not one of the fancied teams, fans coming here thinking, we need to see America win.
Well,
and I'm one of those, right? I'm one of those people.
Right, when you look at the history of America in this race and the American market and how large Supercross is and all those things, when Team USA does well for certain times, it helps the sport overall. It helps bring more sponsors in. It's good for everyone, and of course I want to see it. It's been 11 years, right? It's time, and I think they've earned it. They've really risen to the occasion this weekend.
2 laps to go. Jet Lawrence all over the back of Maxime Renault once again. Has he been sitting back, biding his time, defending the visibility on his goggles, because obviously there's going to be roll-offs there, but there are only so many pulls of the roll-off there before they start to run out. A little bit further back, the battle for 4th place between Jeremy Seewer and Ferrandis. Oh, over the finish line a moment ago. Jeremy Seewer, he is on the ropes here and a little bit more. So we have a crucial couple of laps here that determines the silver medal, and he gets held up by a back marker there, Dylan Ferrandis, but he's all over the back still of Jeremy Seewer, and Seewer knows he's there, and he's making mistakes as well, the Swiss rider.
Wow, they're both pushing incredibly hard here, and that mistake by Seewer is right next to our commentating booth. Had we be standing there, we'd be covered in mud right now. But it's been that kind of day. You see another mistake from Seewer. Both of these two, if you're looking for the riders that have made the most mistakes today, it's been those two, so it'll be interesting to see who can get this done.
Tony Cairoli, or is that Guadagnini actually? Guadagnini, so the number 3, he's in 20th position, just behind Dean Wilson of Team Great Britain. Britain are going to finish in 10th place, Italy are going to finish 4th.
And I was speaking with someone just before the race, and I was wondering if Guadagnini didn't get the start, would he be able to replicate that pace from the first race? Because it's so difficult. You're getting roosted, you don't have as good a grip, you're covered in mud, and then you have to move forward, and we see him back here at 20th.
These guys are being lapped actually. Guadagnini, there's Maxime Renault, and there's Lawrence, and all of a sudden, that was almost a game changer right there, because the back end of Mattia Guadagnini, left to right, up through the waves, he was already looking behind over the Monster Energy jump, so he knew the leaders were coming through. He was just doing his best to stay out of the way.
And I think he was trying to get out of the way, but he didn't expect Renault to be on his left.
Okay.
Well, it's getting mental here late in the moto, but I truly believe that Guadagnini was trying to get out of the way, right? He's moving left, which is the natural line to move, and it just happened so that Renault was on his left.
1 lap to go. Maxime Renault all of a sudden has 3.3 seconds over Jet Lawrence. Back markers playing their part, possibly on the penultimate lap there. Inadvertently, obviously they're having their own race, Wilson and Guadagnini, but as the leaders came through, and Lawrence with no goggles as well. So that is also a telltale sign. There's Chase Sexton just in the background. So we're going to also have face full of roost there for Lawrence. Sand as well. That's not nice. Wet sand as well. Blue flags are being waved. Mattia Guadagnini needs to get out of the way. He's looking over his shoulder.
Well, and I don't think Sexton's going to try to make a move here, but if he needed to, this is the perfect setup. Surely Jet Lawrence can't see at this point, and you see Guadagnini still pushing.
Mattia Guadagnini used Jet Lawrence to find his way past. Look, Dean Wilson has parked up and let these guys go. Guadagnini used it, He's not pulled out of the way. He's not yielded to the blue flags. He knows the guys are coming through, and he's still racing them.
Well, and you wonder if he thinks that this 20th is going to be needed, and it won't be. They're going to be using a 15th. Surely he doesn't know that, so I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. Yeah. Why would he be pushing here? He doesn't know the maps. You have to give them a little bit of slack here.
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, you're in that, you know, right, you're behind Team Great Britain, and he's just basically used that to his advantage. The leaders are coming through.
I used to get told all the time when I was being lapped, there's a race going on and you're not in it.
So Chase Sexton, we are on the final lap. He is less than half a lap from what would be a historical moment in his riding career.
Well, you're going to just see, I think, first relief and then exuberation from all of Team USA, because everybody's on pins and needles. They were so nervous because they knew that as long as they didn't blow it, they were set up perfectly going into race 3, but they're still, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop because it's been 11 years. So I think everybody that's a part of this team, everybody that's supported this team is just happy to see things go their way for the first time in a long time.
We still need to get Tomac over the line though in that 6th position, because as it stands right now, they're throwing away the 9th place of Justin Cooper from race 1. But heading uphill, Maxime Renault, who has a 4.5 second advantage over Jet Lawrence. He will surely take the win in the checkered flag. Lawrence will take 2nd, but Chase Sexton, Team USA, he will round out the final couple of corners. The flag does go out, Renault wins, but Chase Sexton has won the Motocross of Nations for the Team USA for the first time since 2011. It is going to go off here, and he knows it. We just need to bring Tomac over the line for sure in 6th position, and the celebrations are going to go wild. And for Team USA, 23 wins now, and you know what, in 38 appearances, previous appearances, they've had 32 podiums. That's 33 in 39 appearances now for Team USA, and no wonder they are rushing the podium here, the start straight. They want to see history being made, because there's a lot of people here new to the Motocross of Nations. They are new to this event, and they've never witnessed this before either. So for this crowd, this is a big moment.
Well, and to win at home, right? There's been so many years in a row where it just hasn't worked out. Obviously, we all suffered through COVID-19 and there was no race, but this is an incredible moment.
Team USA victorious here then at Redbud. And the chants are already starting. Are you going to join in, Jason? Because actually you can breathe a sigh of relief now, because 11 years for you as a fan, as a loyal servant to the cause. What does it mean to you, first of all, and how are you feeling right now?
Well, you know, I've been watching this.
You look emotional.
I've been a part of this. This is a big moment, right? I've been a part of so many other teams, whether it was Tim Ferry, these guys I trained with every single day that were a part of losing and winning teams. You see the effort, you know the emotion, and for Eli Tomac, think about it, he's never won this event. The amount of times he's been traveling all over the world, he's never been able to win this event. He's won everything else there is to win but this. So I'm happier for those guys. I'm happy that they get to get that monkey off their back, so to speak, and they don't have to ever live with, hey, you guys didn't win Motocross of Nations ever again.
Yeah, 2011, the last time they won it with Ryan Villapoto, Blake Baggett and Ryan Dungey. The following year, Lommel, Belgium, they finished with the bronze medal. Again, Dungey, Baggett, but this time Justin Barsha. It was silver in Germany in 2013, bronze, silver, bronze. The 3 years after that, 14, 15, 16. No podiums, 2017, 18 and 19. Of course, they weren't in Italy last year, but they are victorious here. Eli Tomac has done his shift as well. He was victorious in race 1, came from a crash in turn 2 at the start of the race, brings it home in 6th place. And you know what is more poignant for him as well? You've got Chase Sexton at the start of his career. You've got Eli Tomac deciding to ride only Supercross next year. I'm not saying it's at the end of his career, but he's choosing not to ride outdoor. The only championship really he hasn't won, to win it here on home soil. Big day for both Chase Sexton and also for Eli Tomac. But don't rule out Justin Cooper as well. He did his bit, his 2nd attempt, and he brings home the bacon, takes the gold medal, and no better feeling than to do it here on home soil.
Well, I can promise you, no matter what else happens for the rest of their career, they won't forget today.
Here's Eli with Lisa.
Eli Tomac, Chase Sexton, history was made today and you were part of it.
That's right, the dry spell is over, so feels so cool to do it here at Redbud on the home turf. Probably the best crowd I've ever seen for an MX1 event I've been to, so cool, we did it. That was a true team effort. Obviously was the weak link in that moto, and Chase came through for us, so great job Chase, great job Justin. All I get is thank you, Team USA, everyone involved. We got it done.
Thank you.
Eli Tomac, Chase Sexton, Justin Cooper, victorious here at Redbud, the 75th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. 33 podiums now in 39 attempts for the US. 23 as a winner, 7 as a second place finisher, 3 times as third. Team USA victorious here in 2022.